Hi everyone, me again. Welcome to a special edition of the Tech Drawer. Today I will be reviewing some of my retro equipment, starting with the Dragon 32 that you can see here. If I've got time, I'll also review my Sinclair Spectrum 128 Plus 2. Begin with a bit of information about the Dragon 32. Created by a company based in Wales called Dragon Data Limited. Their offices and manufacturing plant were in Port Talbot, if my memory serves me correctly. Originally owned by a toy company who wanted a slice of the microcomputer pie. They later went out on their own due to the success of the machine. So I'll just get a look at it. This is rather nice butterscotch colour. Here we have the Dragon logo. Dragon Data Limited. Full stroke typewriter style keyboard. On the side here we have a cartridge port. A lot of games for it came on cartridge. Get the power socket, which is rather oddly just like a serial. Put on a standard computer. On-off button. Socket for the monitor, and I don't have a monitor. On the other side we have TV, reset button, left joystick, right joystick, and in the middle there we have the tape lead, which goes all the way off around here to this old Sony that I've got here. Just take a look inside. It's not much, is it? Compared to modern computers. No cards, no sort of standard design to it. But anyway, this green thing here with all the chips is the motherboard. It has a Motorola 6809, which is here. Just get a look at that. Which is commonly held to be probably the best processor available at the time for microcomputers, though not a lot of them used it. We have some of the chips here. I'm getting this sort of like Motorola theme here. The ribbon for the keyboard, which is a nice sort of feel to it. And the power supply here, with the heatsink. RF modulator. So all in all, very compact little system. Doesn't really need the big box that it's got, but anyway. I also forgot to show you the input output thing, which I think is a printer, Centronics printer. Now this is one of the earlier model Dragon 32s. Originally it was going to have 16K of RAM. Yes, you heard that right, 16K as in kilobytes, smaller than megabytes. But when Sinclair released the original Spectrum, it was available with 48K of RAM. So Dragon kind of scrambled to make the machine more competitive. As you hear, this is like what's called a piggyback board, which is an extra 16K of RAM for a total of 32K, hence Dragon 32. There was also a 64K model available a little bit later on. This has been grafted on here with a cable that goes around to these pins here. Now later on they did make them with the full 32K of RAM on the motherboard, but I've got an earlier one. Going on around here, we're underneath. I've got fairly low model serial number, 2965. Here we go. That was the toy company name, Metoy Limited. Let's get a bit of view. There's The company was based in Swansea. Look at that. Made in Great Britain. Bit of patriotic stuff for you there. Old 32K Dragon Data Limited, Queensway, Forest, Fach, whatever, Swansea. So, I think they moved to Port Talbot once they got made independent from Metoy. Anyway. Yeah. So I'll turn it on. As you see one of my cats there, that's Scooby. And here you have the main screen there. Sorry for the god-awful flicker. I'll have to do something about that at some point. But anyway. Before we start, I thought I'd list the spec of the machine. That Motorola 6809 processor that I showed you earlier is 0.98 megahertz. So that makes it a grand total of 980 kilohertz. Wow, feel the power. And as I mentioned earlier, 32K of RAM, maximum of 8 colours, and yes, that's 8. Today we have a maximum of, I believe, 16 million colours. Yeah. I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong there. And also the sound on it. The sound on this thing isn't all that great. It was controlled by the CPU, whereas most other machines at the time had a dedicated chip for it, apart from the Sinclair ZX Spectrum that just had a beeper. But not mine, because mine is a later one and it has a proper sound chip. So I don't think that there's any sort of music that's on any games that you can get for it. It just, makes bloops and bleeps and explosion noises, etc. So it's not all that great. Even the Spectrum Plus 2 with its rather antiquated Yamaha chip, I think, did better. But the best computer sound chip ever was the Commodore 64's SID. Very versatile. A lot of voices on it, waveforms, all lots of weird shit. Made some lovely sounds. Look some up on YouTube. You will not be disappointed. Right, okay. We'll try some basic programming. So, let me get this cover back on. Come on. Come on. There's your good dragon. Okay, right. Standard program for running BASIC. Now, the operating system that was used on this computer is BASIC, and if you can see there, copyright 1982. Apologies again for the awful flicker, by Microsoft. Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of them. Microsoft is a small company based in Redmond who specialise in computer operating systems. Yes, they went on to dominate the world from these humble beginnings. Anyway, BASIC, as used by pretty much all of the microcomputers of the time, was pretty much the same. Microsoft made the most of them, including the Commodore 64s, but there were some companies, such as Acorn, who wrote their own, but it was pretty standard, so you could use the same sort of commands for any computer that you wanted. So just reset this. And now I'm going to try a program, if this thing will just stop flickering. Apologies. Okay, right. If you'll have a look here, look at what I'm typing. You can try this at home yourself. Okay, this program I'm going to try here is just a pretty simple one. So 10, which means it's the first line in the program. Print, which means it's going to write some characters on the screen, put it in the quotes. Hello. close quotes, return. 20, which means it's the second line. I think. And go to, which means it's going to repeat a command. Or more accurately, go back to it. Go to 10 and press return again. And then type run and hit enter. Now, if this has worked, it should print an infinite amount of hellos on the screen until I stop it. Yay! The dragon works. Anyway. Break. Break in 910. Okay, so I'm going to load up a game and show you what it's like.